Good evening and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's commemorative area for this special Last Post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt and shortly a current serving member of the Australian Defence Force will read tonight's story. We'd like to acknowledge the veterans who have served, those who are still serving and the families who love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who continue to watch the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record, which they themselves made. Now will we hear the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century.
Good evening. My name is Group Captain Ron Tilley and I'm currently serving with the Royal Australian Air Force. Today we pay tribute to Warrant Officer Maxwell John George Schultz, who was killed on active service with the Royal Australian Air Force on 1st of June 1944. Born in the inner Melbourne suburb of Carlton on the 9th of September 1921, Maxwell John George Schultz was the son of Max Oscar Schultz and Elise Irene Horton. As a young man, Schultz attended St George's School in Rathdown Street, Carlton. Following his schooling, he was employed as a storeman at the Radio Corporation in South Melbourne, where he was also a wireless operator in training. Schultz enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force in February 1942, aged 20, and began training as a specialist wireless operator. In January 1943, he embarked in Melbourne for overseas service. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Schultz was one of approximately 27,500 RAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners and engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined squadrons in Britain. After further specialist training in Britain, Schultz was posted in January 1944 to the Mediterranean, where he joined No. 454 Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force. At this stage, the squadron was based in Egypt, where it was part of 201 Group of the Royal Air Force Middle East Command, and was equipped with the twin-engine Martin Baltimore light attack bomber. During the period Schultz was with the squadron, it mostly operated as a maritime patrol squadron, targeting enemy submarines and shipping, as well as operating against targets in mainland Greece and the Greek islands. On 1st of June 1944, the Baltimore, in which Schultz was a wireless operator, was taking part in a raid on a German convoy that had left Piraeus harbour in Greece, bound for Crete. Schultz's Baltimore, which was shadowing the convoy and had been fighting off persistent attacks by the strong German fighter escort accompanying the convoy, was last seen about 50 miles north of Crete, presumed to have been shot down by enemy fire. Schultz and his 3 Australian crewmates, George Lyles, Max Short and Edward Quinlan, were all killed. Schultz was 22 years old. Their bodies were never recovered, and their names are commemorated on the Alamein Memorial at the British and Commonwealth War Cemetery at El Alamein. Schultz's name, alongside Lyles, Short and Quinlan's, is listed on the Roll of Honour, along with more than 40,000 other Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. This is but one of many stories of courage and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Warrant Officer Maxwell John George Schultz, who died for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for watching and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.